See, the transfer of trust doesn't carry across simply because we're not being empathetic enough. I'm inviting you to think about this. There's a big difference between me saying, well, what I can do is, versus what you get when you choose to work with us is. I'm not giving you all the answers. I'm inviting you to think differently about your language. What you talk about is the impact that your work has on other people, not how brilliant you are. I mean, geez, what is a just sold brag book anyway? Could you imagine any other industry producing marketing literature that was like that? Just sold? Well, isn't that your job? Imagine that like a brain surgeon. Hey, didn't kill another one. The fried chicken shop say like, another happy customer, no food poisoning. They wouldn't do it. But we make all this self-loving language information in our businesses because it's always been done, not because it's right. This gets bigger because being empathetic is understanding that it's not you versus anything. Even language like I won the listing, I won the sale, I won the bid. If you're the winner, what's the other person? See, that means if you want to win in this business, you're in the business of creating losers. Is that true? Not really, is it? Our goal is to be truly relatable. It's to be on the same side. I hate to break it to you, but did you know that not a single person in the world wants what you're selling? Nobody. Not one. I've not met a 6-year-old that says, when I grow up, I cannot wait to have a 30-year institutionalized loan, an interest rate that means that I'm going to work for the rest of time, that is going to have a number of terms that are attached towards it that are going to mean that I'm going to have to share information that is less than what I would like, and I'm going to have to achieve results around that information I don't want to share before even doing so. That sounds amazing. Sign me up for that. Nobody wants a house, do they really? Do you know that? Nobody wants to buy a house. Nobody wants to sell a house. They might not even necessarily want a home. People want to buy a house because. People want to sell a house because. If you do not know somebody else's because, you are not empathetic. Watch how many people lose at a listing presentation because they show up knowing everything about the market, the property, the comps, and the marketing plan. What do people really want? They want help from getting from X to Y, whatever the X and Y is in their life. Sidebar for a second. Who would like to be able to take those two ingredients alone and dramatically increase their conversion rate at every listing presentation they ever go into? You up for this? When you show up to a listing presentation, what are the early questions that you ask? Workshop with me for a second. Straight in with how old's the roof? What are we, like a home inspector now? Sounding like an auditor. What are the first questions we ask when we walk into a listing presentation, when we arrive to the home? This is your job, not mine. I'm guessing that some of you have done this before. Why are you moving? Why are you selling? We jump straight to it. It's like showing up to a date saying, why are you not taken? What is wrong with you and what are you looking for in a husband? Now, you might want to know all the answers to those questions, but would you ask those questions to get those answers? I get you want to understand the motivation for why they're looking to sell, right? I understand that that is true. But the route to get there is remarkably different. Would you like the route to get there? Yes. Watch this. Catch these word for word. Arrive to the home. And when you arrive to the home and you meet them at the home, you ask them, how long have they been there? And when you ask them how long have they been there, their inside voice says, I know this one. This isn't tough. And they tell you. And then you say, where were you before? They say, I know this one too. And they tell you. And you say, what is it that prompted you from moving from that house to this house? And they tell you. Is this nice to be 3 levels of questions in and they're starting to paint all this backstory for you? Full of details and incidentals that they wouldn't have shared with anybody else. You say, wow, you've been here like 7 years. What are some of the changes you've seen in this neighborhood in the 7 years since you've been here? They tell you all of this too. See how all of this is backwards? If you don't do this right up front, you don't get another chance to do it. What happens now? They tell you what's been happening over the last 7 years. You say, well, what would somebody else need to know about this neighborhood right now if they were to move here? They'll tell you that. You say, what are some of the changes that you've made in your time that you've been in the house? They'll tell you that. They know the answers to all these questions. None of these are threatening. All comes back to you with good insights. You then say, so what is it that's prompted you to think about possibly making a move right now? And now they tell you the real motivation for selling. And you're the only person that understands the backstory that got us to that given point in time. Everybody else shows up with comps. Everybody else shows up with their unique 23-point marketing plan that is exactly the same as somebody else's unique 24-point marketing plan and kind of similar to the other person's entirely unique 22-point marketing plan. The difference becomes when you know the person. When they feel like they've shared the story and when they say, well, you know, the thing that's kind of prompted us possibly making a move is this place is just a little too big for us right now, and we kept the 2 bedrooms up there for a long time thinking the boys might come back, and we always said we wanted to keep space for the boys if they came back, and we said that for the last 5 years and they ain't coming back. So what used to feel like hope now feels like disappointment, and every time I walk past their room it reminds me of the time we weren't there when they were here, and what we now think about is we all need a clean slate, so we're going to make a difference. We're going to go move closer to where they are, and we're going to help make a bigger impact on our grandchildren's lives than we made on our kids' lives. And if they've told you that, who's winning the listing? You are. Because this is nothing to do with them selling their house for the most money in the quickest period of time. It's a little to do with that. It's about making it feel right that you're the person that's going to go on this next chapter in their journey book with them. The minute we forget that, we lose to the robots. I repeat, the minute we forget that, we lose to the robots. Because if you do everything the robot tells you to do and you follow that playbook, who could sell a house? And anybody that's running a robot. FSBO could do that. FSBO cannot understand with the emotional intelligence that you have of the hand-holding that's required to help take people through the emotional challenges and changes that they're working through. Slow the process down. Be curious enough to understand their real context. Ask empathetic questions till you're relatable. Do not present your services until it's you and them versus something bigger. It's not trying to sell the house. It's trying to get from X to Y. They're going to choose you because you're the number one person that can help make that reality a reality. This should be exciting to you, not scary. Because this is human stuff. This is it feels safe to choose you. Oh, and it makes sense because you got all the other stuff too. But it feels right.